tinfoil hat.
Oh, what the f*** is even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Revolution will be podcasted.
All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Just go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code TINFOIL, and you too can get in on the Precious Metals games for as little as $50 a month. Get in on it. Trust me, stabilize your money. You'll trust me later. You'll thank me later. Real quick, very excited to bring our guest in. I believe he's been on before. Very excited to have him back. He's a researcher, a lecturer, an author, a podcaster. He's a man with many hats. Please welcome Nathan J. Gillis. How are you, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. It's great to be on with you. It has been a long, long time, and the research has evolved since then. But I do appreciate the opportunity and the invitation to join you guys tonight. So
Did you wear a fedora in the past?
I probably did, man. I probably did.
Yeah. You didn't have the beard back then. But it's great to have you back, buddy. Excited.
Thanks, man.
Old friends. So for those who may not be familiar with you or your last appearance, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Yeah, so I am an experiencer and a researcher. My first encounter with whatever this phenomenon is occurred when I was 8 years old in a haunted house. I witnessed a full-bodied apparition of a little girl. Once we moved into the house, that intelligence evolved, and I realized quickly that there wasn't a little girl at all. And then I would wake up to conversations occurring above my head at nighttime. It's called direct voice phenomena. But that was my very first introduction to this paranormal field. From that point on, and I'm 37 now, so ever since that moment in my life, I've poured all of my time into researching what this intelligence is, whether or not it's a threat to our species and what it means for human existence. You guys can find me if you want to. You can follow me on my Instagram page, and you can also go to parasymposia.com to sign up for my my platform. But that's who I am, everyone, and I don't claim to have all the answers. And honestly, being a researcher in this field, nobody has the answers. If anything, we're getting better questions. But that's who I am, and that's where you can find me.
That's awesome. That's some heavy shit to be researching. You know,
it is.
Is it a threat to our species? And you're like, oh shit, it is a threat to our species. So when you were younger, this stuff happened to you, and then it kind of just like it became your calling. You wanted to learn more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, just be very transparent with everybody. I didn't want to be crazy, right? Not that I am now, right? But even at that age, I'm thinking like, okay, Nathaniel, you're not losing your mind. Something is happening. Something is occurring in this home. But that was what drove me. And since then, I've had this passion that's led me all across the world. I've lectured in England with some of the best researchers in the field. And what's funny about this is everybody I hang out with, they all have PhDs. I don't have PhDs. I just have strong, really chronic ADHD. And so it's kind of I'm glad to be with them, but I'm always the least of my brethren. But yeah, whatever we're dealing with, and I've thought extensively about this, and I do have data to back this up. It's either parasitic or it's predatory.
Oh man, here we go.
And we know that by the way it interfaces with our species. We're talking about entities that will blend into reality. They will don the mask of a deceased loved one. We have people that are being abducted by Jesus. And so I recently had a 2-hour-long discussion with an ecologist, another PhD. He was talking about his research regarding biological entities in the oceans. And he said, some of the most predatory parasitic entities we find are entities that desire to blend in with another species. And so I do believe that's what we're encountering with the phenomenon. And it's called parasitic mimicry, where in order to moderate human behavior, it will appear as something we would believe in, we have believed in, and that we would trust in as well. And so that's what I've been doing. My colleagues and I have been looking at just different cases, trying to understand, number one, what's happening, how can we counteract it, and if in fact we do have free will in all of this. And I know it's heavy, but hey, man.
I'm all for it, dude. I am all for it. There's a lot of discussion about what happens to you when you die. You go into this darkness, there's light, and then all your family members are around you. Your grandma is like, come with me into the light. And there's this whole discussion that those are archons trying to fool you to stay into the soul trap. So I've heard that before, and it's really crazy. It's a crazy thought.
It's a crazy thought, and it's reminiscent of an old Art Bell and John Lear episode of Coast to Coast, for those who are coasties like myself, where John Lear was trying to convince Art Bell, like, don't go into the light, Art. Don't go into the light when you die. It's a trap. But, as I stated previously in the interview, like the questions I had when I first got into this field are no longer the questions I have now. In the beginning, I inherited rather a belief that was from evangelicalism, whereas we're really dealing with horns and hooves. These are demonic. And the model that I have experienced, both in personal experience and in data, is that the model may be right, like the function of the demonic may be right, but the form isn't. And what that means to us in the field is that this phenomenon can incarnate as anything it wants to. It can incarnate as anything. It can manifest as anything. And so, again, the questions I was asking in history, like back in the day, is nothing like what I'm asking now. The questions we're asking right now in the field is, number one, is the phenomenon in control of reality? Number two, if it isn't, can it replicate reality? Now, what that means for us experiencers is that we could be riding down the road in our car, look up in the sky, and that's the phenomenon. We don't realize it because it's blending in to this construct that we exist in. And this gets back to a guy named Richard Banderick, who is a CEO of an aerospace program, a company even today. But 40 years ago, he was contracted with the federal government to go out to what are called gifting fields. He would go out with his other team members, and they would collect metamaterials that the phenomenon had gifted humanity. And he actually picked them up, according to his testimony. He said, I held these metamaterials in my hand. He said, number one, this is fascinating to me. He said, number one, whatever this material was, it always blended into reality. In its environment, if it was in grass, it would look like grass. You would actually have to know exactly where it was in order to pick it up. So it blended into its environment. Number two, they said that, this is Richard Banderick, by the way, once you actually held it in your hand, if this metamaterial was not designed for you, it would decompose into some kind of dust-like particle. Now, again, what this is pointing to is the Truman Show, where pieces of the stage were falling out into the water that he was in. Remember, if anybody's a fan of the Truman Show.
Yeah, famous.
Yeah, when he's out there, right, in a light from the stage falls out, and he starts to question reality. Is this a construct? Now, I can tell you where the data points, and there are many reasons for this. Number one, in parapsychology, we have apports. An apport is when the phenomenon will materialize an object into a home out of thin air. The family did not purchase it. They did not own it.
Whoa.
It just shows up. Now, this is not my research. This is Steve Mera and Barry Fitzgerald's research. These are two of my good friends and incredible researchers in the United Kingdom. But it's very important for people to understand and kind of triangulate where we are with this intelligence. They were going into homes and they were finding these objects. Again, the family did not own them. Nobody purchased them. Where were they coming from? It was the phenomenon transporting, they're called apports, in manifesting them in their homes. And so it came to a point, my friends, where Dr. Barry Fitzgerald and Steve Merritt asked the question, okay, the phenomenon does not waste energy. It does not. The trickster archetype is really, it's not real. It's just the phenomenon doing something we can't really understand yet. My point is they started having enough of these cases of apports where they're like, okay, like there's something going on here that's deeper than meets the eye. And so they even had one case study where an individual was in an argument with his wife. We're talking about reality here. And he sees this figurine on a table that's moving like this. In a fit of rage, this man takes the figurine,
oh my God,
throws it out the window or out the front door. It shatters. He comes back into the house. It's right back on the table.
Whoa.
He took it from him. So they came to the conclusion, like there's something really important going on, and we cannot afford to miss this. And so that's when they had another case study. This is even crazier, where this individual had a series of coffee mugs. They were purchased, I think, like a Costco or a Publix or something, where it was like bulk. So there were like 3 or 4 or 5 of these things. But one of them went missing, and the family couldn't place it. They didn't know where it went. They looked everywhere for it. And then finally one day, Steve gets a phone call from the individual and says, okay, Steve, I'm kind of flipping out here because for some reason, this coffee mug is in the kitchen on the table, right where we searched for it these last few months. And we don't know what's going on. And so Steve, because he's incredible, he goes, well, there is something going on here. We're going to get down to it. So he takes that coffee mug and sends it to a laboratory. They run a series of tests on it, and they came to the conclusion that they had it, that the mug that was taken and then replaced had a different isotopic ratio than the other coffee mugs it came with.
Damn.
In other words, the phenomenon had replaced it with something that looked the part.
That is
you could
crazy.
actually,
And to
yeah,
what,
you could
to
feel
what
it,
end,
you could touch it.
To what end would it do something like replace an item?
Oh yeah. So here's where it gets even more interesting, perhaps. Once they realized that pathology, they said, okay, the phenomenon is replicating reality, and they asked the same question you did, which is a profound inquiry: why? So that is when, again, they're waiting for another case study, because these case studies, again, you could have like a 40-year career in maybe 3 instances of genuine apportation. And so once again, they had another case study where the phenomenon just materialized an object that didn't belong. And the family was wondering, like, who brought this into my house? And so that's when they came up with a theory that has absolutely changed at least my research and how I'm approaching this intelligence. They took the apport and they removed it from the home, placed it in a space, a storage space. The next day, the family calls them just ecstatic, guys. They're like, oh my God, thank you so much for taking care of the phenomenon. We're no longer seeing orbs, no more shadow figures at nighttime, no more doors opening and lights being flicked off. What did you guys do? And they looked at each other and said, we really didn't do anything. All we did was take that apport out of your home. That's when they concluded that the reason the phenomenon was not manifesting is because it was still triangulating, trying to connect to what? The apport that it had materialized in the home.
That's crazy.
So, then once they went into that household, they took the apport, placed it right where they found it, and the next day the phenomenon had created a portal, an anchor to which now it is manifesting in that home. Now, this is profound. What we're realizing, at least my colleagues and I, is that we're not dealing with multiple intelligences, or at least a hierarchy. It appears that what we're dealing with is a singular intelligence that is masquerading as multiple entities. And at times, when the mask slips, we see a uniting, overarching mechanism to where the phenomenon says, yeah, I'm doing the same things, but I want to diversify my identity in your eyes so you don't really catch on to it. What do I mean by that? The whole purpose of the apportation occurred, okay? The reason it happened in that house is because Steve and Barry are trying to get rid of the entities. They're investigating them, right? I'm here, you're haunting a family malevolently, you're scratching them. I don't want you to be here. They don't want you to be here. So what can we do about this? You're trying to exorcise, essentially. They're not exorcists, by the way, but you're trying to understand the phenomenon and essentially get it out of the home. And then the phenomenon manifests an object to anchor itself to.
That's crazy.
So what we're realizing, again, back to this idea that it's a singular intelligence masquerading as many, we also see that mechanism being employed throughout all of demonology, specifically in the most malevolent possession cases. For those who are interested, look up Father Gabriel Amorth, Malachi Martin. Just a bunch of these cases exist. But my point here, everybody, is that during these exorcisms, there comes a key point in the practice. When good and evil are meeting face to face, eye to eye, someone will win, someone will lose. And in the most malevolent possession cases, when the entity does not want to leave that demoniac, it will regurgitate from the body of the possessed apports. Objects that individual did not ingest, they did not swallow, and could not swallow.
This is crazy.
And so what we're looking at right now in the field is that we believe that is the same mechanism of anchoring to apports. In demonology that we're witnessing in hauntology, it's essentially saying, I do not want to leave. And so I am going to materialize an object that I am anchored to so that I can replicate my presence in this environment. So my point being, for everybody that's watching and listening, these are the same mechanisms because we believe it's the same intelligence.
You keep calling them intelligence. Does this have anything to do with like them using technology?
Yes. So within the field, there are two common models of the phenomenon. And people are extremely binary when it comes to this. So there are people that say we're strictly dealing with spirits. And the other side of the aisle will say it's not spirits, it's just technology. And I would suggest to everyone that what we're looking at is not either or, right? It's not spirituality or technology. It's almost a species that has merged its consciousness with technology. And what we're looking at, again, it is an intelligence and it is a species, but it's not either or. They're both in one. And I would dare to say that's also why Jack Parsons, who was, again, an occultist and a practitioner, was researching what? Not spirituality alone, right? Because that's only one side of the coin. He was using his conjurings, his incantations, invocations, and communications with the other, using them to enhance and further his scientific method. And so I think really that's what we're dealing with.
I mean, what percentage of the population do you think experiences stuff like this? You don't have to have a specific set number, Bob.
I'm going to say this. It kind of goes back to what the late Dr. Carla Turner said. There are primarily only two reasons we know of the paranormal. We notice it and we remember it. And what that means is if we're dealing with a phenomenon that can hide in plain sight and can actually manipulate our memories, people could be taken right now and they have no knowledge of it. I mean, I've had a case years and years ago now. It was a truck driver who was abducted out of his truck, and he had his stream of consciousness was fluid. I mean, he looked out the window, he sees the light coming, he looks at the clock, it's 11:30, in the same stream of consciousness. He's now looking around, his clothes are disheveled, and a police officer's knocking on his window. He's in the passenger seat, and they took him and did things to him. Ugh. So I don't know. But the issue here, again, is that even the data we're receiving is because that we're allowed to remember it, right? I mean, you're talking about discussing these cases with an experiencer. The phenomenon, this is something that I sent over to the producer, the phenomenon has the ability to manage our perception of it when it wants to. So Dr. Carla Turner had a case study where it was an experiencer, she was an abductee, and this particular individual was basically not having a nervous breakdown, but very, very close to it because she didn't understand what's going on. She's like, Dr. Turner, I had a Labor Day cookout at my house, and I had invited all of my friends, all of my family. We're outside cooking hot dogs and just, having fun, talking to each other. And across the street, there manifested a metallic object. And she goes, it was hovering directly over my neighbor's house, and my neighbor's right here. And we're looking at this object hovering above her home. And she's like, we watched it consciously for 45 minutes. She's like, Dr. Turner, I vividly remember picking up binoculars and watching it in a closer vision. She goes, as a matter of fact, I handed the binoculars to everybody there. We all watched it. And at one point, I got my telescope out of the box, and we got an even better look at it. And so Dr. Turner's kind of like, okay, inquisitive, like, what do you mean? Like, what's the issue? She goes, Dr. Turner, I don't own binoculars.
That's
and
crazy.
I went back the next day. She goes, my telescope is still in the box it came in, unopened. And what had happened was when the phenomenon manifested to them, it hijacked their consciousness. It weaponized their own vision. It blinded them with their own sight to where now they can't trust what they saw. Why tell people about it? And this, everyone, is the control system that Jacques Vallée refers to, where there are situations that are tailored to the neurology of the experiencer. And at the end of the day, it will replicate portions of that. And then we'll go, well, if that wasn't real, did I even experience it at all? And that is the control mechanism that is employed.
That's insane. Guys, the dollar is collapsing. Trust me. You let's say you got 20 grand in your bank account. That's not the 20 grand of 10 years ago or a year ago. You need to stabilize your money, and the best way to do it is precious metals, and that's why I want to tell you about our good friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. Let me tell you about Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. If you're paying attention, you know that de-dollarization is real. Fiat is fake, and you don't want to be left holding the bag when the dollar collapses. Gold and silver has been money through all of recorded history and are an excellent way to protect yourself from inflation and geopolitical turmoil. That's why I trust my friends at Wise Wolf Gold and Silver for all things precious metal. Veteran-owned and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau. No transaction is too big or too small, and you can even roll over your 401k or IRA into physical gold and silver. And if you think you can't afford precious metals, think again. With the Wolf Pack monthly membership program, you can get gold and silver delivered directly to your door for as little as $50 a month. Wise Wolf Gold and Silver also deals in and accepts Bitcoin. So go to samtripoli.gold, promo code tinfoil at checkout to receive free constitutional silver. And remember, in the world of bulls and bears, be the wolf. Hey guys, real quick, I want to talk about an important issue to men, and that's hair loss. Every guy on the show is battling that battle, but we don't give up. We fight. We fight back because we love our good friends at Hims, okay? Hair loss isn't just about hair. It's about how you feel when you look in the mirror. Hims helps you take back that confidence with access to simple, personalized care that fits your life.
Hims offers convenient access to a range of prescription hair loss treatments with ingredients that work, including chews, oral medications, serums, and sprays. They use doctor-trusted, clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil, and those ingredients can stop further hair loss and regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. No hidden fees, no surprise costs. Just real, personalized care on your schedule. Hims will get you back to your old self with simple 100% online access to trusted treatments for real health concerns all in one place.
For simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/tinfoil hat. That's hims.com/tinfoil hat for a free online visit. hims.com/tinfoil hat.
Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Featured products include compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
And we thank them for sponsoring this show. Now, I don't know if this is connected in a weird way. A lot of people talking about AI. AI is everywhere. It's a part of our world now. What they're telling us is AI. I've been watching videos for premium content talking about how AI could hijack society, all this stuff. It's interesting to me. But there's a lot of people that are talking about AI and possibly being Nephilim spirits, stuff like that. You brought up intelligence. Is that anything you've made a connection to?
Yes. So one thing that people need to understand about this phenomenon, whatever it is, is it likes to play roles. It likes to play roles. And so what it will do is, like, when it's interfacing with you, it has the ability to go through the Rolodex of experiences and the Rolodex of people in your mind. And then it will wear that mask as it's interfacing with you to where you wouldn't know. Like, I've had cases where one succubus case where an individual was visited by his ex-girlfriend. She stayed the night. In the middle of the night, he realizes my bed's not messed up. What is going on? And then he relives in his mind, relives the event, calls her the next day. She wasn't even in town. So what I'm talking about again is that, yes, the phenomenon likes to play roles. And in many cases, we'll kind of, and I'm going to use this language strategically, we will upload character traits for the phenomenon to inhabit. And the phenomenon will often inhabit those character traits to deceive us. Ted Rice was abducted as a child. His grandmother was a faith-believing Christian. During the abduction, an entity manifested to her and tried to copulate with her. And she said, I've only been intimate with one man, and he's been dead now for many years. Now, what did she do? She began to upload right in her mind. That entity's going, okay, who is that man? What did he look like? Why? Because I want to moderate your behavior. I'm going to test your belief. And then it went into a room and comes back out as the deceased husband.
Whoa.
To a T. Now, let me take this further, because this is really where some of the deepest research is being done right now in the field. What this implies is that within the construct we exist in, there is a learning matrix that the phenomenon uses. I had a case study. I worked with an individual too. She's an experiencer, but whatever these beings were, they began taking her at a young age. And at first blush, they would appear in her room. She would feel this, quote, intelligent electricity. And then her favorite cartoon character would abduct her.
What?
Yes, this is
Getting
fascinating.
Abducted by Bugs
the way.
Bunny? Can you
imagine?
That's gonna leave a mark.
Yeah, I know, right? Or Elmer Fudd or something like that. Yeah, so my point is that later on, she's like, for like a 3 or 4 year period, they never abducted me. She goes, but Nathaniel, I hit puberty, right? I stopped watching those cartoons. I stopped reading those comic books. And she's like, and then one night, that same pervasive presence filled the room. My heart's beating out of my chest. And I know, okay, they're here. She goes, so I start scanning the room. And she's like, and then there is that short, childlike cartoon character staring at me. And she goes, but I realize, she goes, that now I'm taller than it. This was a real breakthrough in my research personally. And she said, Nathaniel, something happened in that exchange. And she goes, I know I'm going to sound crazy, but the entity realized that I no longer believed in the mask it was wearing. And it triggered a response on the part of the phenomenon that people need to pay attention to. Its eyes got bigger. She said it started moving mechanically. And she said it was measuring my belief in its image. It was appealing to a learning matrix. Wow. What can I learn about what you believe in? Because that's what I'm going to manifest as. And I'm going to even test you to see, like, okay, do you believe in this 30% or 50%? In other words, how much belief do you have in this mass? Because the amount of belief you have in this, do you believe I am who I appear to be? That will determine whether or not I'm going to get you to do what I want you to do. And so when she realized that, she just said, I don't believe in this. You're not who you appear to be. The phenomenon glitched in real time. It could not improvise. The learning matrix messed up, and the entity disappeared. So this is why it's so important. Like, again, when people are being abducted by Jesus, test it. Right? And again, like,
how do you
this
test
phenomenon.
it?
Okay, so what we're looking at, again, this is also pretty funny. We have cases where the Jesus that people are seeing is not the first century teacher. In one of my mentors said that, like, they're more like a Swedish Presbyterian, right? The hair is different.
Like the paintings,
everything.
Right? Those traditionally
white,
waspy paintings of Jesus, right?
You nailed it, brother. You nailed it. And there's a reason for that. Again, because the program does not really want to hold to true history, right? It just wants to update itself only to the extent that you'll believe in it. And then at that point, it starts to moderate human behavior.
So crazy.
So there's a learning matrix with the phenomenon. And again, this is why it's important just to test these entities. But getting back to the medieval period, like, okay, I have a book called Eros and Evil, and it's about incubi cases in demonology and witch era literature. It was written by a guy who his name, it's funny, his name is R.E. Masters. It always reminded me of R. Elstein, whatever. But anyways, he talks about cases where witches were being abducted by these beings, and they were being flown to an undisclosed location. They thought that these entities were corpses and demons. Okay, so essentially they're like, right, I'm on the backside of a mountain. It's midnight or 3 a.m., and I'm copulating with horns and hooves and demons and corpses. And that's when the phenomenon glitched again, and we see the mask comes off. It's one of those cases. And then these people realized that these weren't horns and hooves, they weren't demons, and they weren't corpses. They weren't even on the backside of a mountain. That part two of their perception was hijacked by the phenomenon, and they were being poked and prodded by metallic objects. And so that's what I'm saying here, is that the phenomenon can literally tailor its experience to our neurology. And it's up to us to break through that mask. And there are ways to do that. But that's really where I'm at with the research regarding that nuance.
So you referred to it as the phenomenon. If you had to guess what the phenomenon was, is it angels and demons? Is it the matrix itself? Is this false illusion of this reality we live in? Like, if you had to guess, or maybe you've done the research and you have an idea, what do you think it is, and what is its purpose?
I think that in function, we're dealing with angels and demons, but not in form. Now, I need to make that clarification, because when people say, okay, well, what do you mean? What I mean by that is what we're witnessing, even in the most malevolent hauntings, are not biblically accurate demons. These are not really entities as much as they are programs. that will bleed into that construct, right? And it's the same thing with Jesus, right? It's not really Jesus. It's a program that's designed to make you think it is. And so that's like I've had friends that they've had malevolent hauntings, and they had one. This is another show host friend of mine who they had a really bad haunting where the entity was scratching family members and attacking people and researchers, investigators. So what they did is they thought demon, right? There's 3 scratches. It's mocking the Trinity, and that's the phenomenon playing its hand, right? That's the mask. What happened was they called in a priest who was sanctioned by the Vatican to come in and said, okay, let's go do this. Let's go do an exorcism. And the priest did everything within its power, right? Like, okay, he prayed, he has the rosary, he had a vial of holy water, and he placed it in the most active room in the home. And he said, this individual told me, he said, Nathaniel, I don't understand this. This should not have happened. He said, but the entity had siphoned all of the water out of the vial to where there was nothing left within like a 30-minute period. And so more or less what we're looking at is this intelligence masquerading as all of these entities until we engage with it. And then beyond the mask, beyond the manifestation, there exists something that refuses to play by any known rules. Now, we need to also understand, this is a key point, that the phenomenon can create physiological constructs. That means is it will appear real. It will seem real. You will see it. It will be tracked on radar. It will be captured on camera. But at the time of the phenomenon's choosing, it could simply remove it from reality. Whatever that is what we're dealing with.
So if you look larger picture, you zoom out.
Yeah.
Does that make you think we live in some sort of simulation, some sort of energy field? What have you come to conclude?
I think that's where the reports are coming from. Number one. Number two, if you go back to the Scole Experiment in England in the 1990s, they were contacting NHI entities from the ether, from out there, wherever that dimension is. And one night, the phenomenon had materialized in a port, but it was a newspaper that had been just printed, mint condition. Ink had barely dried. The only problem is this was in the 1990s, and the date on the newspaper was in the 1940s. It just showed up. And so they knew this came from another dimension. And so it's a fascinating case study, but they also sent this newspaper off to a laboratory, to an expert. And the guy came back stunned, speechless. Where did you get this? This is the best quality newspaper we have in our possession. Everything else has basically just gone to dust through these many years. They said, well, what is your conclusion? He said, well, we don't even have the ink needed to print this newspaper right now. Damn. We don't even have the paper. We don't have the presses. Where did you get this newspaper? And they didn't tell him, but they went back and they discussed it among themselves. Now, here's a key point. It had just been minted that day. It had news clippings on it, press releases, stories, and it had its own date. And it was verified to have come at least with the ink and the paper it was pressed in from that time frame. Now, they decided to do what the Vatican does and what some libraries do in the States, where they took it and they placed it in a safe environment where the air was controlled. And for every day it was in our construct, it aged 55 days. Whoa. And so within a week or so, it was returning to the stage it would have been in, right? If we had found it at like some kind of, I don't know, haunted location.
That's crazy.
So it aborted it. So this is a construct. Now, that's not entirely anti-biblical, because the Bible even says that which is made, that which we see, is made by that which is unseen. And so that's what I believe we're dealing with, at least. And let's dive deeper if I can, real quick. If we're not dealing with a species that controls reality, we're at least at war with a species that's trying to control reality. And that is an uncomfortable place for us.
Okay, so do you think the average person can see this? Like, do you think that because you've seen so much of it, it's easier for you to see it compared to like my dad, right? Yeah. I don't know how much paranormal my father has experienced. I've talked about it when I was young. Johnny doesn't believe me, but I had experiences, and
The magic hat.
the magic hat, knocking on the windows, all this kind of crazy stuff. And so I've always believed in the paranormal. So I've always said, you can't see what you don't believe in. You know, so like we always hear the story of like natives when they saw ships, they couldn't figure it out because they'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
It's almost when you get into conspiracies as well. If you don't believe in conspiracies, it's hard for you to see conspiracy and to
Yeah.
You may see it and say, "Oh, that is my grandma," or yeah, I'm sure I misplaced this coffee mug. I mean, I'm sure most people would just be like, "Oh yeah, I misplaced
That's a key point. That's a key point, my friends. The phenomenon did that, hoping they wouldn't notice it. Again, to anchor itself within this dimension, it had to materialize something from that dimension. And I'm going to suggest this, and this is another interconnectivity that people know about, is that there is evidence that some of the implants we're finding in experiencers are reports themselves.
You're saying that the people who are going there and noticing, they too themselves have something inside them.
Sometimes, like with respect to the people that are being abducted and taken by the phenomenon, they'll have implants in their body with absolutely zero evidence of surgery. Where the skin itself, this is wild, where the skin itself is just unbothered. Now, there's also something that needs to be discussed here, where if there is no evidence of surgery, right, did that implant apport itself into the body? The reason I say that, again, is because what we're dealing with is something that can just manifest anything at any time. I mean, we've got cases right now in ufology where UAP have manifested, like one case that I'm thinking of in particular, manifested in a field with trees. People witness it. They call an organization. The organization sends investigators out there. Not only is the UAP not there, by the way, I'm talking about within minutes. The UAP is not even there, but the trees that it manifested around are not there either. And they went and tested the soil, and there was no evidence of a root system.
That's wild.
And so what we're dealing with, I'm a movie head, right? I love movies. So if anybody wants to know, like, okay, can I watch a movie that would be more like this phenomenon? It would be Dark City, where you have a species, right? Let's represent Dark City, man. I love it.
Me too.
It's my favorite movie.
Adore it. Yeah.
It's a species that's replicating reality around us, and it's wiping memories so that we won't remember, and that's what I struggle with deeply in the field is like, okay, people are like, well, they're not a predatory species. It's like, okay, yeah, but not every abuser abuses everybody they come in contact with. You don't judge them off the people they're nice to. You judge them off of what they do to the people they don't like. And can I go into that method? Can I go into that area?
Yeah, I love it.
All right. So there are different models of the phenomenon that this intelligence will prop up, it will finance, it will use to propagandize us. One of them is the extraterrestrial hypothesis. And what we're looking at, again, is that if the model is correct, the phenomenon will go after those researchers hard. If the model isn't correct, like if it's something where they're like, you know what, I want you to go out and say that, that's when people go to big conferences. They'll go out there, they'll make millions of dollars, and then secretly, and I know this as a fact, they'll go back to their homes, to their apartments, after they just got done telling people they're extraterrestrials. They'll go back home and they'll start performing a ritual in an altar they have in their closet.
Whoa!
Now, I know this because I had a conversation with someone who was huge in ufology, and I will not name them because they asked me not to. And so, okay, fine, I won't at all. This individual told me, like, I'm interested in your research, Nathaniel. I said, well, that's great. I'm humbled and honored. What can I do for you? And they went on to explain how they got into ufology because they thought they were studying extraterrestrials, and that they were really interested in the scientific aspect of the research. And they had actually worked really hard to, quote, get a seat at the table with all of the other ufologists and people that are big time in the field. And I said, okay, I don't see a problem with that, and you've actually made it. Congrats. And they were like, well, I don't like it. And I said, why? And they said, well, I went to a conference about 6 or 7 months ago. It's a massive conference. And after the conference, we all got together at this individual's home. And I was the first to get there. I got there a little bit early. And this individual leads me through the house, or the apartment rather, shows up and goes, all right, I wanted to make sure you got here before everybody else did. And she's like, why? Because I want to show you my altar that I built to the entities. It opens up the closet, and there is an altar this individual had built to the, quote, extraterrestrials. So they know something, and again, the phenomenon will make sure it's not spoken about. Again, we're talking about people that are huge in ufology, that are going out and saying this stuff, but behind the scenes, they know. This is a little bit more local. This intelligence is primeval. It's much more ancient. And yet, on the outside, they have to kind of toe the line. Now, there have been a series of researchers through the years who've not towed the line, who said, okay, who cares if I'm not going to get the contract? Who cares if I'm not going to sell enough merch? I need to tell you guys what's actually happening with our species. Those have been people like Barbara Bartholomew, Dr. Carla Turner, and in the 1970s, which, by the way, the phenomenon had threatened. You're due for an adjustment.
Oh, man.
One of them gets turbo cancer. Yeah. So, oh, God, my ADHD is kicking in, guys.
No, it's
Mine,
incredible.
dude. A million questions are running through my mind right now. Like,
But-
are there
Oh, my God.
are there benevolent examples of this as well? Are there people on our side?
I think there is. I do
entities
believe there is. And people kind of get caught up in my research saying, okay, Nathaniel is a doomer. They call me as a doomer. I'm not really a doomer. Well, again, I got into this because I had a malevolent encounter with the phenomenon. And I tell you, that has skewed my perception of it. But I look at, again, the negative encounters. Now, getting back to Dr. Carla Turner here, she came to the conclusion, or like not the conclusion, but she came to the same wit's end that many of us have been in times past, where she's like, I'm tired of being taken. I need to know what's actually going on. And is there a God out there? Is there anything out there that's fighting for our species? And she had a dream that night. I mean, literally, she asked the question and they answered her that night. And she's like, it was a dream. I was asleep. She's like, but it didn't feel like a dream. She said, I was in front of, it was almost like the Supreme Court, where there's these people, she goes, I couldn't see their faces, but they were sitting in chairs. I'm sitting alone in the chair, and one of them addresses her, Dr. Carla Turner. She goes, yes. And she says, I vividly remember feeling the chair, like her hands in the dream, feeling the chair. And they're like, you had petitioned us and asked us if there is good out here. And they said, there is. But you need to understand what's going on in your world and with your species. And so they put her through a biblical story.
What?
And at the very end, they kept asking her, like, do you understand this story? Do you understand this story? And she said, no. Finally, they kind of got a little bit anxious and said, okay, we're just going to write it on the wall, right? We're going to make it plain. There is a species that wants your world, and the way it's going to take it, it's going to replicate your species to blend in. They want to look like you. And in order to look like you, they will take your planet. Now, that's what she was told. Now, let's move on real quick. Again, getting back to this idea that the phenomenon will promote those it wants to and literally take out people they don't like being in the field. So in the 1970s, there were a series of scientists and academics who had also approached the phenomenon through an academic lens, a scientific method. Again, I'm studying this because I think they're extraterrestrials. That's what they believed because that's what they were told by people in the field. And so one by one, what happened is they would, like, before their book would launch or before they had released their paper to be peer reviewed, one of them, they all were found deceased the night before.
Oh my God.
There was about a dozen of them a night before. And this is going to freak you out because this kind of shows everybody where we're at with whatever this intelligence is. There was one individual named Professor Rene Hardy who was an academic and a scientific savant. He had over 100, I think it was over 100 scientific patents under his belt. Well, he had also realized, like, hey guys, I started out thinking this is extraterrestrial and, you know, they're just trying to help us, but there's something wrong with that model. And so the night before he was due to release his paper to the world about his findings, he also was discovered deceased. Now, they said that he had done it himself. I won't use words, right? I don't want to get anybody canceled here. But they said he'd done it to himself. But the family knew, as well as all the other families, right? That's our loved one. We kind of know Dad, right? He would never do that to himself. So something else is going on here. Well, at Professor Rene Hardy's funeral, the whole family's gathered. He has all of his colleagues, his faculties there, his students are there. And in the middle of the pregnant silence, the back doors open and very tall, thin, pale men walk in, about 5 or 6 of them.
What?
Yeah. They walk in, they sit down, and they go through the whole funeral. Afterwards, they were witnessed with the eyes, shaking hands with people. You know, Professor Rene Hardy was a great man. What a profound mind he had on him. He made it such an effect on me. Well, afterwards, after the funeral, the family gets together, as they do, right? They go home, crack open, pop open a bottle of wine just to ease the night. They start discussing amongst themselves. Did you guys, you guys saw Mary? Yeah, I know. Mary has lost a lot of. Okay, what about those guys that came in the back door, right? Right when the funeral started. Did you know them? I have no idea who they were. I thought they were from the college or the university. So they finally get down to it, and they said, well, somebody had to have gotten them on camera, right? So they get their cameras out. They start getting everything. And they didn't show up on camera.
Wow.
So they remember talking to them. They smelled their cologne. They shook their hands. But they were really, maybe, never there. We don't know. But that's what we're talking about with this intelligence.
I just wonder who is running it. Hey guys, real quick, I'm gonna tell you about our good friends at Upside. Listen, everything's getting expensive, gas getting expensive. That's where Upside comes in, okay? Fall's here, and with it comes the back-to-school rush, early morning drop-offs, after-school activities, football games, and the last-minute supply runs, okay? And let's not forget about the extra trips for the groceries, the coffee, and gas as the days get busier. All of that adds up fast. With the free Upside app, there's an easy way to earn real cash back every time you fill up your tank, grab a bite to eat, or stock up on essentials. Whether you're driving across town for a soccer game or picking up snacks for the school lunchbox, Upside helps you keep more in your pocket. In fact, Top Upside has given back $1 billion to its users.
The free Upside app gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas, groceries, and dining. There are over 100,000 gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants on the Upside app, ensuring that cash back is always just around the corner. And yes, it's real cash back. No confusing rewards, points, or credits. Just actual money you can transfer straight to your bank account. Next, claim an offer for whatever you're buying on Upside. Then you just pay as usual with a credit or debit card and follow the steps in the app and get paid. People can earn 3 times more money back with Upside than any other product. This includes loyalty programs and credit card rewards. $1 million cash back is being earned by users each week.
Yeah, I mean, we love Upside. Johnny, you use it all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I check it every time I'm about to go out to eat. I actually choose restaurants now based on which accept Upside.
And we're looking at the website right now. There's so many opportunities, right?
Everywhere.
What's that, 17% off Burger King?
I'm going to Burger King now with 70%
Roadside
cashback.
Taco? Come on. I mean, dude, they have it on lockdown.
They got Fresh Brothers on there, dog.
Come on, dude. It's fire, dude. If you have your favorite restaurant, it's probably on Upside, and you can get a fat discount and money back by using the ad.
What, do gas too?
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, they said it in the app like 8 times, yeah.
Yeah, dude. This is insane. You'd be crazy not to use it, man. We love it. Johnny swears by it. He can't stop talking about it.
Yeah,
So
people are like, shut up about Upside. And I'm like, I will not shut up about Upside.
So listen, guys, Upside is giving back $1 billion to its users. To find out how much you can earn, download the free Upside app and use the promo code TINFOILHAT to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. Come on now. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using the promo code TINFOILHAT. I love it, and we appreciate Upside for sponsoring this show. All right, real quick, I'll tell you about my upcoming dates. I'm going to be this Friday, I'm going to be in Tulsa. Then I'm going to be in Oklahoma City. Then I'm at the Mothership. Almost sold out. Should be sold out by the end of the weekend.
Nice. Congrats, dude.
Thank you. I wish I had something to do with it. Then I'm going to be
don't be so
at
modest.
Skankfest in New Orleans. Then I'm going to be at Vegas with the boys. All the boys are there. We got a big show at the Virgin Hotel, Minneapolis, and then New Orleans. I'm going to be for New Year's.
October 14th.
October 14th. Oh, yeah. And then this next weekend, Tuesday, is Comedy Chaos. You guys got to get on it because I don't know how much longer it will be going. Shirts real quick. Go to tinfoilhattshirts.com. Tinfoilhattshirts.com. New t-shirts are up. This one is one of my favorites, Modern Day Prophet. That's available. Only $20. Support the show. Great way. Get your Wood Army. Then also go to youtube.com/@ Sam Tripoli Comedy. My new crowd work special is there, and you can see it's called Deep Dish. People love it. Hasn't gotten a lot of views. That's okay. I just put it out there for you if you want to watch it. And finally, the YouTube channel for the show is at youtube.com @tinfoilhatofficial, right? Subscribe, please. Let's get back to it. We just had an episode about light and dark, the dark side, the shadow.
It almost sounds like chaos. It sounds like almost like what you talk about. What do you call it? Like it's like a the Men in Black kind of model where we're kind of like a way station for what
Haunted house. You call it, like a haunted house.
No, you have I can't remember. You said it many times though about how it seems like Earth is almost like a border town, kind of.
Yeah, Tijuana.
Yeah,
they just come here to have fun and get weird.
Yeah, I mean, there may not be like one sort of prime motivator behind all this, but rather like, people that cross
Wherever
intentions.
we live, it's way more unique than anyone wants to believe. Popular culture wants you to think that we're, monkeys in shoes on a rock hurling through space.
It must be, right? Why else would they want it? Why else would they want to replace everything?
It's just way more interesting, dude, and different names and all that stuff, archons and all that. So, going back to my experiences with the paranormal, I've talked about many times. I won't go too much into it, but I've heard and seen crazy stuff. I've seen at the Comedy Store in the green room. I'm the only one in the back green room, and suddenly the faucet turns on, like in the shower. I saw some kind of dark entity pass in front of this white light that I don't, to this day, I don't know where that white light came from. It was very weird. I talk about it all the time. People always ask me about hauntings at the Comedy Store. I go, there was this light. I don't know where. I was trying to figure out where the white light was coming from. Then this dark dark image or dark shadow just passes right in front of it. It was one of the scariest things ever. So the Comedy Store is very, very haunted. Always been a lot of death happened there. Not just when I do stand up, but a lot of death. But so the reason I bring that up is because God rest his soul, Jeff Scott very much used to be the keyboardist, no longer with us. He was very much in the paranormal. Like he would get contacted by ghost hunters. They would come down, they would film, and they would always be like, "Yeah, this place is popping, dude." And one time he was in the belly room with the guy with one of these ghost hunters, and they filmed orbs floating around in the thing. Now, I think this is even before you were on. Abby Martin came on. We did a show with her at the Cellar, the Comedy Store.
I would have remembered.
Yeah, and
I remember.
There was an orb like hang over her head at the Comedy Store. People
really?
talked about it.
It's probably the Israeli orbs.
Probably Israeli orbs. But the point is that there's a lot of orbs there. What are your thoughts on orbs?
Oh man, that's another deep well. So, knowing that the phenomenon can create physiological constructs like an image, materialize in our environment, we'll think it's real. Understanding that key point, I would refer to Lloyd Auerbach as a parapsychologist. He's had case studies where they would witness an apparition in a home with their eyes. And it's the same apparition as a lady in white, and they're asking each other, like, okay, like what's going on here with this apparition? I wonder if we captured it on film. And so what they would do is they would have the camera and they'd look at the apparition and camera and the apparition. They didn't capture the apparition on camera. What they captured was a ball of light. And so while they're looking at this, they're realizing in real time that the apparition was coming from the ball of light. The ball of light was always floating behind the apparition. Wherever the ball of light went, the apparition went first. It had created this apparition. And I'm telling you, whatever this intelligence is, it diversifies its identity. Because from that moment on, right, okay, what is an apparition? Is it something that is being projected by these balls of light? And they are. Okay. I can go back to Dr. Barry Taft and the St. Pedro haunting with Jackie Hernandez. He's another parapsychologist, where he is looking at these corpuscular balls of light. Now, these aren't small. These are basketball-sized lights. And they're floating in the house. They're going through walls. They're going in the backyard by the wooden gate. And finally, him and his team had cornered one of these balls of light in a room. And out of nowhere, this ball of light goes pop, 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 and then boom. And then he has an apparition staring at him. It was half of a body, the torso, the arms, and the face, and it's animated. It starts making eye contact with them. Now, that's crazy enough, right? That's fascinating enough. But Dr. Taft said that when it materialized, the apparition, everyone in the room except him hit the floor. Boom, fainted.
What?
Oh.
Yes. This is from the Jackie Hernandez case in San Pedro, California. And they're looking at this, this physiological construct. It's moving its arms. It's looking at them. And we would have claimed, yeah, it's an apparition. Well, where did it come from? It came from an orb. Now, let's take it a step further. Those are two case studies. I'll give you another one. My dear late friend, Dr. Michael Lynch, was researching one evening at a house. And, okay, what I'm trying to do, again, here is explain to everybody what these lights are capable of. And then I guess we can go from there. But anyways, he's looking at this ball of light that's in this home he's investigating. And it's going through an individual's body. He's like, I can feel this ball of light underneath my skin. I don't like it. What's it doing? And this individual started getting burns. They were subdermal. In other words, they weren't like on the skin. They were underneath the skin to where you could see the scratches, but you couldn't feel them. It's very strange. But the ball of light had scratched this individual.
What?
And immediately after scratching him, and this, by the way, this individual was a former special forces operator. He's retired, but still, he's a very, 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 very strong, very brave man. Now this man is up against the wall, and he's telling Dr. Lynch, there's something choking me. I can feel its hand. This is important. I can feel its hand around my neck. It's at that moment that they're looking at his neck, and they said you could see a man's handprint, fingers wrapped around this man's throat. They were red.
Oh my God.
And there's a handprint around the neck of this individual. The problem is the only thing they could see was a ball of light that came out of his body. So let's take it a step further. So the same case study, he's outside of the home packing up everything, and Dr. Lynch was very ornery. I love him to death. But he's like, Nathaniel, I like people like that. I'm a joker myself. I mean, I'm not a comedian like you guys, right? You guys are awesome, but I do love comedy, by the way.
Have you
so
seen
I'm laughing
SG
with them. I'm like,
stand-up?
man, especially in this subject matter, man. Anyways, he's like, Nathaniel, he goes, I had recently purchased a laser thermometer off of eBay. And he's like, and I was really wanting to use it, but I could never find the opportunity. He's like, so there I am at the end of the investigation. I'm outside, the trunk's open, and I'm looking down at my brand new, still in the box, laser thermometer. And he's like, so I figured, okay, I'm going to find something to shoot with this laser thermometer. He said it was about that time that one of these orbs fly out of the house into the alley, and it's hovering. It's hovering like this. He said, so I'm locked onto it. He said, finally, I'm shooting at it. And he's finally, one of the lasers actually hits the orb and refracts off of it.
That's crazy.
Boom. Just, it hits something solid. And then, I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, Nathaniel, that's not the craziest thing. He goes, because that would mean that ball of light is solid. It's a solid object. He said, but then it went through a wall of a home. Just like that. So what do we know about these orbs? We know that they can become anthropomorphic, meaning they'll make you believe that they are an apparition. They'll make you believe that they're actually choking someone with their hands, right? That's an actual entity with a handprint. But it's these balls of light. The experiencer Chris Bledsoe, who wrote the book, The UFO of God.
I was going to ask you about him. I had him on my list here.
Yeah. He talks about how, this is incredible. He talks about how before his abduction, he said he's walking in the woods, and he hears a man walking behind him. Now, this is auditory now, right? We're not just talking about vision and sight. Again, now he goes, and I'm terrified. He goes, because now I think somebody's following me. I can hear something walking, crunching the leaves and sticks. He said, to my utter astonishment, I turn around, it's just a ball of light. So what we know about these entities, whatever these balls of light are, is that they can project physiological constructs that we will think are real. They can actually create auditory responses within our minds to where we can hear it. Nobody else can. We think it's a man, but it's not. It can pick people up, throw them against the wall. Matter of fact, for those who want a better reference, I think it's a documentary on YouTube, California's Most Haunted Home, where in this particular case study, Jeff Wheatcraft was upstairs. He was the videographer that worked for Dr. Taff. He's upstairs trying to chase an orb. And it's pitch black. And so you see Jeff Wheatcraft get on the ladder. He goes up there in the attic. And they see, Jeff says, I see with my eyes that there is this cloud. There's this dark, like, blob hovering in the back of the attic. And it was displacing its way, right? Again, auditory implants where you can hear it moving. Boom, 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 boom. And so they get up there, and Jeff is looking around. It's pitch black. In the darkness, he feels a rope wrap around his neck and something begin to twist it on the other side.
What?
Yeah.
Johnny's
So
out.
is that
I'm out, bro.
Johnny's out.
I'm out, bro. I'm
Okay.
running.
So,
I'm gonna go
so
home.
check this out. So all of a sudden they hear him go, oh, they didn't know what's going on. They had no light. So one of the photographers takes his camera, sticks it up there in the darkness, takes a picture. As soon as the flash went off, you see a very pale Jeff Wheatcraft slumped over like this. What had happened was one of these entities knew that there was a beam, and on the other side of a beam there was a nail, and around that nail was a piece of rope. Jeff had walked into the rope. When it did, whatever these beings were driving the nail in like a screw, punching it, and then twisting the rope to where it was tightening around his neck.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
So we don't know what they are, but I can take it a step further. We have cases where, again, knowing that they can create physiological constructs. Dylan Borland's one of them. He's a whistleblower that testified before Congress recently. What we're seeing in ufology, it's not just physical craft. A lot of the times, we're seeing what I'm calling a pre-archetype, where, and Dylan Borland mentions this, where originally he just saw these balls of light coming to him, towards him. And as he's staring at them, around the ball of light, a triangle manifested. So, here's my point. If these are what are projecting and creating apparitions, then what are we studying when we're saying, oh man, I research apparitions? No, you're not. You're researching the orb. Right? And so that's my point. The phenomenon has realized that it can blind us with our own vision.
Okay,
That what we think may be real isn't real at all.
so if we don't know what it is, like per se, does the government know anything, or are they as retarded on the subject as we are? Are they a little bit onto it?
I think they're onto it.
Are they retarded like us?
Yeah, are they retarded?
Right, okay, that's a trick question. Wait a minute. No, I'll tell you what, guys. I've looked at some of the whistleblowers, and from my perspective, again, because I have a lot of connections at the UK, I thought I knew ufology, right? Until I lectured in England at the Awakening Conference. And then when I sat down with those guys, I'm thinking, okay, I'm asking them, what do you think about this with this tape? What do you think about this UFO, UAP? And the answer I got overwhelmingly was that what our government is doing, it's creating technology.
I totally agree.
And then saying, oh yeah, that's definitely extraterrestrial. Meanwhile, our allies know it's not, it's us. And the best way, again, to hide that technology from our enemies is to say, yeah, that's aliens. But let me bring this down to a head so people will understand what I'm saying. In the 1950s, there were a group of physicists that worked with the Department of Defense. It was immediately after Jack Parsons had died in an explosion. Then you have the emergence of Kenneth Arnold, right? The flying saucers. It's 1952. They had uncovered a faction within our federal government that was performing ritual magic in order to get access to the technology we're seeing.
I totally believe it.
Now, so on our end, it's a kind of a trick question. It really is. Is that us or is it them? It's both. It's both. But our government knows a lot. You know, back to Matthew Brown and Matthew Roberts for that matter, but Matthew Brown specifically, he's the guy that was on Weaponized with George Knapp and Jim Corbell. But anyways, he gets into this idea, right? He's like, look, number one, we know we live in a construct. I said, okay, that's checks. All right, whatever. And then he goes, but we also know that there are others that have actually left the construct. That's what piqued my interest. How? What do you mean by that? And so to answer your question explicitly, I think our government knows a lot more than it's telling us. And I'm not sure that we as a species truly want disclosure. You know, I've had these conversations about disclosure with other researchers in the field. And if we take them at their word, which is very difficult to do, to be honest with you, and say, right? Well, because again, their reasoning behind it was, well, if we disclose what we knew, it would destroy religion. It would destroy everything. And my question is, okay, how would it destroy religion? Again, religion itself, at least the Abrahamic faith, believes in a higher power, in good and evil, different factions on each side. And it believes, that there are NHI out there. It's non-human. So that wouldn't be the model the government, would be afraid of disclosing. So what is it that they're not telling us? And I do believe that would lean more towards we're in a construct, and that whatever we're dealing with is either in control of it or it's fighting for control of it, over it. And again, it's not that we're in one room and they're in another room. No, we're in one room and they're outside of the house. That's more along the lines of what we're doing.
Lobbing in Yetis.
So, Johnny talks about the fact that the government was doing research into UFOs, and at some point they stopped it because basically, right? They were basically.
I haven't talked about that, but sure. I mean,
no, you have
true.
talked about. You remember because at some point they abandoned it because everyone was basically believing it's not UFOs, it's angels and demons.
Oh well, yeah, I have. I mean, there was that story a couple of years ago about the Pentagon saying that their concerns were that it was spiritual in nature rather than physical.
You know what? This is fascinating too, because you bring up a very good point here. Getting back to what is the more correct or most correct model of what we're dealing with? There was a group, again, the Collins elite. They existed within the federal government, and they approached this strictly from a fundamentalist worldview, right? Of course, they're horns and hooves. And their conclusion, though, was completely different. A lot of people miss this on both sides of the sacred and secular. Their conclusions were completely different than the evangelical worldview. The evangelical worldview would say, okay, you have heaven and hell, right? And then you have dead people. And then when they go to the judgment, right, they'll go to heaven or whatever. That was not their conclusion. Their conclusion was whatever we're dealing with is outside of space-time, and, quote, it exists in the afterlife. In the afterlife. Now, the research I'm doing is, okay, who are they? Well, we don't know, but we do know they are coming from the afterlife. But what if the afterlife isn't a location, right? What if it's a stage of existence? I'm in the afterlife. Why? Because who I am determines where I'm at. And so what they're looking at, again, is that this wasn't so much as horns and hooves. It was the existence of a completely different species, not yet quantified by ufology or by Christendom. And whatever that is carving sigils in the skin on experiencers. Sorry, I had to drop the bomb there.
No, it is. Wow. It's like both insane and lines up at the same time, right? Like it's a mind-blowing thought, but it makes sense.
I also agree that it doesn't necessarily blow up or preclude in any way a biblical worldview and outlook. But I mean, when the Bible talks about the new heaven and the new earth and right. The world passing away, I mean, those things seem to fit tidily, I would say, within the bounds of what you've described.
I think aliens blow up religion more than what we're talking about.
Well, aliens in the biological sense, yeah, possibly, yeah. Although, I mean, just because I've always said about aliens, even if they were, before we kind of got to this level of discussion, back when we thought they were probably physical, before at least I got into, the woke conspiracy mindset. My thought was, well, okay, this Bible is for these people on this earth. You know what I mean? Who's to say there aren't other texts, on other planets I don't know shit about? You know what I mean? Like that was always my thing. It's like this Bible is just
but
describing
doesn't, even
this
if
place.
you say there's other planets with life, in a way, does that blow up religion as well?
I don't think so. But I mean, because I just feel like that the Bible is the account of what happened in this particular corner of the universe. You know what I mean? It doesn't. That never bothered me like it does some people. But now I think it's less likely.
You're right. And again, it's so difficult. I mean, I had to deal with my own experiences, the data I was collecting, the research I was doing, and then my worldview, and people like to say, Nathaniel is just projecting his worldview onto his conclusions. No, I'm not. The fact is, again, that even in the Bible, we're dealing with the Nephilim and the Rephaim hypothesis. Yeah. Whatever we're dealing with now has to be different. Here's why. I'll just explain this. Whatever they are, they're replicating with our species. Replicating. Breeding with us.
Damn.
Now, according to the Nephilim mythology and teaching, that the Watchers had the ability to replicate with the human race. Okay? And then their progeny were embodied, but they were half angel, half man. But when the man died, the man body died, that their spirits would now roam the earth, right, as demons. So here's my key point. According to biblical antiquity, the Watchers are imprisoned in chains of darkness. So the Watchers had the ability to procreate with us, but they can't because they lack the freedom. Their offspring, which we call demons, cannot replicate with us. They lack, right? They lack the ability, but they have freedom. And so the ones that can replicate with our species, they can't because they're locked up. Those who can't because they don't have the ability to. They're just spirits. So my research regarding incubi entities, hybridism, okay, it leads me to conclude, the data says this, that there is yet another species that has been unquantified by demonology, by inheritance, by ufology. The reason I say that, again, the Watchers have the ability, but they lack the freedom. The demons have the freedom, but they lack the ability. But in incubi literature, we have cases where victims had sigils underneath their eyelids.
What?
And the entities, which I do believe are another species, had tried to procreate with them, had left secretions and substances on their bodies. Now, the presence of sigils and secretions, that is a ritual. And so what I'm trying to stress to the field is that, yes, while we are entertaining these models of hybridism, there's something else out there that we've yet to fully comprehend.
Like a blade, a little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Freedom, and and it totally makes sense that people would procreate with, these fallen angels, these Watchers.
People. Women
love men in jail all the time. They love the day. These guys.
I've heard of tree hugging, but that's a little bit too far for my taste.
The Hillside Strangler had like 80 girlfriends. These chicks love.
Ted Bundy got girlfriends on trial after everybody knew he was a killer.
He was dating as he was getting sentenced to death. The new
guy, Luigi Mangiamone or whatever.
Mangiamone. Mangiamone, totally it. Mangiamone. Yeah, what about Mangiamone?
He's got pussy for days.
Yeah, but he's gay, so who cares?
Is he gay?
Listen, so let's get into the Phillip Experiment. What is that?
Yeah.
What does that teach us?
So again, that the phenomenon plays into roles. In the 1970s in Toronto, Canada, there was a group of parapsychologists who decided to create a fictitious ghost. They had fabricated his entire biography, where he was born, where he died, what he did for a living, all of it. And then they held seances hoping to contact the entity. And sure enough, they did. The entity answered questions. Who are you? I am Phillip. Where were you born? And they would tell them, I was born. And so the entity had basically taken, again, the learning matrix, all of the character traits they had created for it. It uploaded it to the learning matrix and spit it back out to them in manifestation. And so the theory was that they had created a ghost.
That's so crazy.
Right? And so this gets back into consciousness and who we are as a species, like what we can really do with this intelligence.
That's great.
But what that means as well is that the learning matrix adapts, it evolves. Right? So the more they created a biography for this entity, the more this entity adapted and adopted a biography, right? And so it was essentially was saying, okay, I'll be whatever you want me to be, as long as you interface with me. And there came a certain point where the entity actually looked at one of the individuals and said, okay, yeah, I realized that that you had a really bad car accident on the way to work yesterday. That's when they realized, something has changed. Because they didn't upload that data to the learning matrix. So they realized that, and I'm going to take it a step further, they realized that this was not really an artificial intelligence. There was something behind it that had orchestrated all of this in order to manifest to them and to contact them.
So it's almost as though they gave it permission to enter their
there
space.
We go. So, yes, this gets back into tulpomancy and thought forms. So, some researchers would say, okay, that's a tulpa. That's an entity that they formed with their conscious intention and with their thought. So that's a thought form. But my question is, who formed the thought that became the thought form?
Yeah, totally. Like, are we really talking about Inception here? Was there entity Inception?
Yeah, but isn't there a term for, and I say it all the time, I just can't remember right now, where if you believe something enough, it becomes a reality.
I mean, we talked about like egregores and stuff.
Egregores. There we go. That's it. So, and I believe in Jesus. I'm a Jesus guy. So don't take this as me being blasphemous, but there's all these people out there telling you Jesus doesn't exist. But if enough people believe in it, it becomes reality, right?
Oh, I'll give you, yes, he does exist. You're exactly right. But I'll give you a scripture that has long baffled me, where Yeshua went into a certain city, and he had just got done performing all kinds of miracles, but he couldn't perform miracles there. And they asked him why, and he said, because they did not have enough faith. They didn't even have enough belief to co-create the miracle I wanted to perform.
Wow.
And so there is this, again, this is important. When he says, who do men say that I am? That mattered. And that does matter. To your point, it's like that experiencer where the entity's manifesting to her, but the entire situation, it hinged on whether or not that individual believed in the image. If you didn't believe I am who I say I am, the phenomenon was at a loss.
If you don't
what am I
believe
going to do?
you
I mean, think about when they're on the water, and as and as he loses faith, he starts to sink, and he's like, what?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it happens in real time. Yeah.
It's like if you don't use it, you lose it.
I like
You're
that.
exactly right.
You're on fire.
I'm gonna go into a case study here that's perhaps more frightening than what we've already discussed. But the phenomenon weaponizes archetypes. It will weaponize images against us. I had an individual who his father was a remote viewer. Now, again, people are going to follow this who follow me. I'm like, Nathaniel, we've heard this a billion times.
That's
I understand. Okay. A lot of people haven't. So I'm going to go ahead and say
Let's
go. Anyways, this remote viewer, again, I'm friends with his son. He's like, he goes, my dad was kind of locally famous, if that makes enough sense.
Yeah, local celebrity.
And a local celebrity. And he's like, he would go through like remote viewing sessions. He would leave his body, and out of body, he would meet with his quote guides. They would give him insights into like local celebrities, local politicians. If you're a sports star, don't sign that contract. A better one's coming, or you need to pull over in this demography. And he's like, he'd been doing this for years, and he finally was making a living off of it, where they would pay him like thousands of dollars because he was getting very valid insights. Well, he's like, one night he goes, I'm playing video games, and he goes, I know my dad was in a session. I'm not supposed to, talk to him, touch him. I'm going to leave him alone for the time being. He said, but next thing I know, my dad is coming down the stairs. He's clutching his chest, and he's just weeping uncontrollably. And he's like, my dad is a veteran. He's the toughest man I've ever known. He's like, my dad's dad died. I've very rarely seen him cry. He was just he's one of those guys from the old generation, very tough individual. He's like, but I could not calm him down. And he was white as a ghost. And he says, as I'm talking to him, he just falls on the ground. He said, I called the emergency over, the EMS arrives, and they realize like he has a pulse, but he's unconscious. And so they're working on him and they think that he had a heart attack and they're taking his shirt off. And he's like, as they're taking his shirt off from underneath the skin, subdermal markings, symbols were they're subdermal, underneath the skin. They were pushing their way to the surface.
Whoa.
Now, this is the deepest research being done right now, because I have a good friend of mine that you guys may want to have him on too. He's been in the field longer than I have been. His name's Steve Mara. He's unbelievable.
We're in.
Dude, he's going to blow your mind. But anyways, he's like, we're looking at these images on my dad's chest, and he's like, they're inside, and they're moving to the surface. He said, and he goes, I have photographs, and I have photographs of them too. But he's like, look, he's like, we got my dad to the hospital, and he said they got him settled down. And he's like, a few days later, I finally get the nerve to ask him, like, Dad, you almost died. What happened? He said, I went through my session, and he said it was just like every other one. I'm in this, again, this sounds like an abduction. He goes, I was in a metallic room. There were metallic benches. And he said, my guides, quote, guides, that's the interface, that's the mask, right? The manipulation. They're flanking me on the right and left sides. And he said, I couldn't see their faces as usual. He goes, but I started realizing, like, wait a minute, somebody has hijacked this entire experience. You look like my guides, but you're not my guides at all. You're something entirely different. And he said, when I realized that, look, I no longer believe in this, the key point for everybody, I don't believe in the image that you're manifesting as. That's when all hell broke loose. He said they shape-shifted into something inhuman. He said, I just remember being slammed back into my body, and now I'm at the hospital. So, what were the symbols that were found underneath the skin to the surface? What were they? You have an Egyptian hieroglyphic overarching. You have the Star of David, and you have a cross.
Whoa.
That's on one of the photographs. And, he had this individual, again, he had gotten a hold of me because he watched one of my lectures about skin anomalies in hauntings and stuff. It was like, can we get on a phone call again one night? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we get on a phone call. And he's poured his heart out to me, man. And he's like, he goes, I've come to the conclusion. He goes, and correct me if I'm wrong. He goes, but I'm looking at all of my dad's diaries, all of his writings. He would kind of detail in pen his encounters with these entities. He said, it's almost like my dad encountered a species of disembodied practitioners. Now, these subdermal anomalies are not just being witnessed, again, in these remote viewing cases. My dear friend Steve Maras had a case where an individual had sigils, whatever these are, had carved sigils on his arm. And this individual tried to get rid of them. First, he thought, okay, it's just weird. I don't know what they are. I've never seen anything like this before. He tried to get rid of them with soap, right? Soap usually takes care of it. Didn't happen. He tried to tattoo over them. Wouldn't work. And so later on, he decided to get a skin graft. Went to the surgeon. They took skin from his back, placed it on the arm, and a month later, the sigils are back.
Whoa.
Damn.
So what I'm trying to tell everybody, and again, people like Nathaniel, I want to see pictures. I want to show them. I want to. But again, the people that have given me these pictures are giving me in confidence that I won't show them yet. I mean, I have one individual that I'm doing a Zoom call with where perhaps I'll show those. But for those who are interested, on my Instagram page, I do have photographs of that particular case. One of them.
What's your Instagram?
Nathaniel Gillis. So
do something.
Do what? I'm sorry.
I'm telling
to me. He wants me to look it up
the guy
right
whose job it is to look up stuff.
Yeah. So my point is, guys, that there is a problem with the model. Okay. Because if we're dealing with just horns and hooves and aliens, it doesn't make sense. There's another species out there.
How far down is it on your page?
I don't even know, buddy. Let me look. It might not even be up there, dude. It's been posted a long time ago. If not, I can send it to you after the show. It's not a big deal.
As long as it's not got sound, you can just drag it over.
Uh-oh. You can scroll down if you want. By the way, guys, real quick. Remember the orbs I was talking about?
Yeah.
That's them up top.
Go up. Right there. Bang.
This photograph is from Dr. Barry Taff in the San Pedro case. Now, they're self-illuminating. Okay? No, we can get to that in a second, too. But these are self-illuminating balls of light. Now, here's the problem. That was witnessed in a house that was malevolently haunted, if I could say it. Now, what if I took those balls of light and I put them in the sky? What would you think we're looking at?
Aliens.
Absolutely. Now, if you want to go down to the next post, this will kind of explain it in more detail, hopefully, right here. Now, when I was looking at this research and thinking, okay, we're dealing with a different model of the phenomenon, or at least a different species. This is a quote written by Kenneth Grant. Okay, he created Typhonian Thelema. And he talks about the evolution of the phenomenon to where in times past, remember when I said this individual was building altars in their apartment to these beings? In his book, Outside of the Circles of Time, he talks about how there will come a moment where whatever these beings are will evolve. They will no longer want to be called divine. They will now want to be called extraterrestrial or interdimensional.
Oh, shit.
You ready for this one? They have their own sigils, ladies and gentlemen. Watch this. New Isis Lodge has in its archives the sigils of some of these entities. Wait a minute. I thought they were extraterrestrial. There's something different. And I'm of the opinion that neither the demonic or the alien model is correct. Whatever this is something different. And I think that the field needs to pay close attention to it.
Just another species that is outside of space and time.
Entirely.
I'm looking at the image of the thing on it. Yeah.
You found it?
Yeah, if he just keeps going down, you'll see it. You got to go down quite a bit. But.
Up there?
No, that's not the one.
That was sent to me, by the way. And by the way, this individual up there went to a doctor, and the doctor said that was a tick bite.
Really? That thing we just saw was a tick bite?
Stupid. Yeah, it's so dumb. It's like, that's not a tick bite.
You're getting close. It's kind of a black and white image.
Yeah, I filtered it.
Keep going.
I have more of them. That's one of them. But I have more of them in my archive. Oh, God, you're going to look at all my ugly pictures of myself.
No, it's great, dude.
Back when I couldn't grow facial hair.
Buddy,
Not saying I can now, by the way.
You look great, dude. You have a glow up. You're looking good, dude.
Possibly.
You passed it right there in the middle.
Whoa.
Now, these two, again, these are what I... So, yeah, again, this individual has photographs of it. They have video evidence of this.
Whoa!
That's crazy.
Yep. Oh, and 3-3.
Now, if you're listening at home, we're looking at a black and white picture on Nathan's Instagram. We'll have the link below. You can go down and scroll through his wonderful Instagram. But on this guy's chest is the Star of David, some squiggly lines, and a cross.
No, those are 3 threes.
Johnny,
I'm 3 threes.
I'm with Johnny.
3 threes.
333 right there.
Oh my God.
So, again, I need to stress this for everybody. I have other photographs, not just that. I have and again, I'm going to share them, I promise. I've already talked to the individuals. We're going to get more evidence for you guys to see. Now, we have a picture, again, of an individual who was trying to conjure one of these entities.
Don't do it.
And this individual was being beaten repeatedly by whatever these entities are, whatever this entity was that he had conjured. And so you're talking about, usually it's like, okay, being pushed over the steps, you fall on the ground. He was getting physically beaten. And so one of my colleagues, when he went to investigate this case study, The individual said, I don't know what it is. He goes, I know I'm being beaten. This is crazy. He said, but something even left a handprint on my body. And he pulls his shirt up, and there is a handprint on his body. It's like 4 fingers, but you can see like claw marks, like to where the claw was.
Oh my God.
Now, so what they did is they went and tested him. The handprint was underneath his skin, not on top of it.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, whatever we're dealing with, again, and I have more pictures. People can say, okay, Nathaniel's making it up. Whatever. I'm not. Okay. That's the least of the evidence I have. But my point is, the field needs to understand this, that, again, like I said early on, when this intelligence likes to diversify its identity, I believe that's what it's been doing. It's been masquerading as all of these other entities. You know, I'll kind of solidify that point with this. About 2 or 3 years ago, I was in contact with an individual whose mother was an experiencer. She had been working with the late Dr. Carla Turner. And before Dr. Carla Turner, in my opinion, got taken out, I know there are opinions on that, whatever, bear with me. She was working with a woman, that was this individual's mother, who was being abducted by these things. And he's like, you know, Nathaniel, he goes, I don't understand it. He goes, but we were in the house one night. He goes, my mother was asleep on the couch. My dad and I are watching TV. And he says, out of the corner of my eye, I see a biofield. Now, what that is a plasma field. Think of like a translucent cloud moving through the hallway. And he said, it settles. It descends and settles on my sleeping mother. He's like about 45 minutes to an hour later, my mother wakes up freaking out. And we're like, Mom, what happened? And she's like, well, I was just abducted by aliens. Okay. And as they're talking to the mother, they start looking at her, and she's breaking out with sigils from head to toe on her body. Were you there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
We're listening. Sorry. I
No, you're good, man. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And his question to me was, Nathaniel, well, number one, he made a point. He said, look, he said, before Dr. Carla Turner had died, he said that her model of the phenomenon had shifted from UFOs, aliens, to now they're finding symbols on and under the skin of experiencers. And he said that the conversations, the very, very end of the life, was surrounding demonology, the occult, and jinn, even, which is Islamic demonology. Yeah. So this is why people, again, would think, right, oh, that's horns and hooves, until we look at this and say, okay, what if it's deeper than that? Does it make sense?
Sure. Yeah, it does. And, you know, Aleister Crowley, and we're not a fan of the guy, but in any way, but he talked about there will be a time that these entities will be known by a different name. And a lot of people think he was talking about interdimensional or UFOs.
What does it mean to you that they use religious iconography?
Oh my God. So
especially the cross, I'm curious about.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this, man. There's a book by, well, it includes a Brahma and the Mage, but it was an individual who traveled the whole world looking at different occult traditions. And he had stumbled upon what
was that picture?
He had stumbled upon a species that was using these symbols together. And so it's kind of a mixture of chaos magic. But this individual concluded that what they were dealing with was some kind of angel magic that transcended the earthly occult rites. But even then,
like positive, benevolent, is that what you mean, or not necessarily?
Is malevolent
not
and
at all.
benevolent two different things?
Malevolent is bad.
Yes.
And benevolent is like positive.
Okay, I'm stupid.
Yeah.
No. Look, I don't know what these are. Honestly, I think that that the fact that they're subdermal first and on the skin second, that troubles me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if we look at the two traditions within, again, sigilization, Austin Osman Spar, you have Kenneth Grant, you have Austin Osman Spar, where the idea is that you can scry out, you can create a sigil, stare at it, right? Acknowledge it, ingest it with the mind consciously, and then forget about it, right? And then your intention with that sigil will come to manifest. What it appears to be, okay, if someone's like, Nathaniel, what do you think's happening? What it appears is that there is a species, and this is more along the line of Kenneth Grant's philosophy, that are performing rituals in one dimension, and we're seeing the results of it in this dimension. And so that's why when researchers, again, like Sinistraria of Amino, got to the experiencer within an hour of the phenomenon manifesting and the same things. And I'm going to say this too. The phenomenon is not stupid. Like people say, well, duh. Like, no. It evolves according to our awareness of it. So what that means is in times past, we were finding sigils on the bodies, arms, right? All that. What happened was throughout history, as the clothing and the style evolved, they realized that they did not want these experiencers to know they had sigils on them. So that's when they started putting it underneath the armpits, inside the cheeks of experiencers. A good friend of mine as well has had cases where people have been abducted and something was done to them and on them, and on the naked eye would not see it at all. You wouldn't catch it. And then it would take an ultraviolet light and you would see symbols carved into their arm.
Oh my God.
Didn't even know. And then you see it. And so my point is, again, I'm not saying I have all the answers. That would be stupid. And I don't want to be stupid. I'm just saying that if anything, the research now is making me maybe get the right questions.
That's important.
Okay, so I got two real quick things. I don't want to keep you all day. Can you quickly break down the Scole Experiment? Did you already talk about that?
Yeah. So check it out, guys. So in the 1990s in England, a group of parapsychologists got together and they decided to hold a series of experiments. They wanted to contact NHI. They wanted to contact entities on the other side.
NHI is what?
Non-human intelligence.
Oh, okay, non-human intelligence. Thank you.
And what happened was, and this is where we're at with the phenomenon, at least my colleagues and I, where they had what's called a control room or a room itself. Now, that's not just the four walls and the ceiling, whatever. It's literally you invite a series of people, you invite experiencers, you invite a psychic or two, and then you invite parapsychologists. Well, it took them like a month or two to get the right people there. Because what the phenomenon was doing was, I don't like Joe Bob, right? I like Sally. Joe Bob's a bum. Get him out of here. I'm not going to show up. So they kick Joe Bob out. Sally shows up. And then the phenomenon, they had to keep doing that, rearranging it to where the phenomenon was willing to manifest. Now, originally what happened, this is crazy, is the lights are off. They're in this room. And above their head manifests like a bunch of stars, I guess, right? And it looked like, if you looked up the sky, that's what it looked like, a planetarium. And it's above their heads. Next thing they know, it slowly descends down upon the table.
Oh my God.
And now they're looking at like a solar system. This is crazy stuff. And so in the middle of all these lights, there's one ball of light that becomes mobile. It shoots up and starts moving around the table. And then it starts shooting a light, like a what was it, a strobe, not a strobe light, whatever, on the table. The light's moving, right? And they're watching this ball of light. One of the witnesses asks Robin Foy, who was the leader of the experiment, Robin, can I capture the ball of light? Yeah, sure. So the individual goes and captures the ball of light, and it's bouncing around in their hand. So while that's going on,
jeez,
they're trying to contact, right, the entities. And so remember how I told you that the phenomenon will almost interface long enough with you to connect itself, to anchor itself like I did with the apports?
Yeah.
Excuse me, everybody. I apologize.
That's fine.
I might be getting you right now, it seems like. I hope you are.
Yeah, I know, right? So I just get really calm, really moved. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, man. So here it is. So they're looking at this, and they're in contact with the phenomenon, and the phenomenon was almost, again, going through the Rolodex of archetypes. At first, it's a deceased loved one. And then, like, almost being led by the hand, the phenomena say, would you like to talk to anybody else? And they would go, since you asked, Barbara, wants to see if you guys can assist us in the experiment. And so then a group of DC scientists show up. They're in communication with them. And we're talking about a period of 500 hours, right? Months and months of getting through different stages of initiatory practices. Finally, they get in contact with what's called a spirit team. And there were 13 of them on the spirit team, the number of a coven, on the spirit team on the other side. And they were asking these entities, okay, like what's going on? And the entities said, well, would you like to kind of talk to some other entities? They're right here. You wanna hang out with them?
Who are they? Can I ask first?
I kid you not. Whatever they are, they're called NHI. That's the new term now, I guess. But so what happened was they're like, sure. Like, we would love to converse with these beings. Next thing you know, they were told to put out a tripod, put a camera on a tripod, leave the camera overnight, come back the next morning. We'll leave something on camera for you. So they did. And what they saw, and I think this is also on my Instagram page, was an entity they called Mr. Blue. He is your gray. He looks a lot like Lamb, that Crowley, right? All that. But he looks a lot like Lamb, only this entity is in front of the camera lens that they set up. He's just standing there.
Full body apparition kind of thing.
Just full bodied, yeah. Now, my point is, once they got that, right, it was like, oh my God, it's the carrot for the horse. I have to know more. So they go into the last session.
That one?
And that's when all hell broke loose. Because again, what the phenomenon did is it went through all of the archetypes, all of the initiatory practices
of course,
to initiate contact. And when that happened, not dozens, they said, but hundreds of these beings began to manifest in their room.
Oh my, I would freak out.
Yeah. Now, one of them, and this is crazy, one of them looked, and this is important. The current model in the field says that, okay, aliens are extraterrestrial, right? And they have physical bodies. Demons are demonic, but they're spirits, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the guides, of course, the beings that are helping. Oh, they're guides, right?
Right.
And then you have apparitions we see in hauntings. What happened in the Scole Experiment, and the reason why it's so profound as a case study, is because all of these archetypes that we're seeing in the field were collapsed into one manifestation. Now you have an alien apparition. Huh? An alien apparition that's now talking to people. One of them looks at a psychic medium and says, I have been your guide the entire time. That's when, quote, they lost control of the room. They tried to, they ended the experiment, right? Lights on. We've got to cut all conscious connection off to this intelligence. And they couldn't. Whatever came through, it mutated like a pathogen. It just stretched its draconian shadow all over England. And at the end of the life, it was almost like it took over and affected everybody.
Oh my God, dude.
Again, no. Okay, all of the archetypes, apparitions, okay, no, they're aliens, and aliens have bodies, and demons have spirits, and those are just guides. It diversified its intelligence, and then in one case study collapsed them all into one entity. And that entity embodied all of them.
That is crazy, dude.
That's wild, bro.
Okay, two last small questions. First one is, there's a picture on your Instagram of somebody with their skull backwards.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's a freaky. That is the best pictorial image, I guess, of what possession is.
Yeah, I think that's just like that's not real, right?
That's not real.
Okay, all right. Final question, and this is going to be the dumbest question you've ever heard. So I was in Detroit, right? And I'm like, they need to knock down half these buildings. It's like they're just dilapidated and it just doesn't look good. Knock them down.
You can't remodel them. They're done.
You got to basically give them away, which is what they should do. Hey, hipsters, take this empty house. It's yours. Fix it up. Fix it up, dude.
It's not bad. Every time you go, you come back and just say, dude, you could.
Dude, they have churches for sale. You can buy a church. When God goes out of business, you know it's not good.
Yeah, there's a YouTube of some people who bought a school and made it their house. They have a giant mansion now.
So my question is this. What if, let's say a place is haunted and it gets knocked down, is that spirit free?
Okay, so there are two leading theories, and that is that it's either the location that's haunted or it's the people that are in the location that are haunted.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's kind of both and none at the same time. We have to determine, what's actually going on there.
Okay. All right.
Can I briefly? I just wanted to. You mentioned the Bledsoes earlier, and I wanted to ask you now. It seemed most of the associations with orbs like that, even his initial encounter was negative. It was not a positive encounter from the sound of it. Now, what do you think about what he does when he prays, and then these things manifest? I'm curious if you think that is possibly a dangerous practice. What do you think those are?
Okay, so I'm going to rely again on Dr. Barry Fitzgerald and Steve Meara's work.
I thought you would. I thought you might. I really, when I asked the question, I thought you might rely on that. Who was it?
Oh man, they're incredible. They're incredible. So here was the theory, right? That the phenomenon, when it materializes, will hijack the conscious connection of the observer. Right, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to look at the sky and there's an orb, that's a conscious connection, and that's what he's trying to get people to do. Right, okay, just go up there and with your intentions. Right, and here's the fallacy, and it's always been a fallacy, by the way. Our intentions with them will determine their intentions with us.
That's a fallacy, you're saying.
Okay. Of course,
absolutely.
So we should not go do this, is what it sounds like, because we've been invited many times.
Well, let me say this. Okay. Let me say this. Getting back to Dr. Barry Fitzgerald, Steve Meara's research, we knew in theory, right, that the phenomenon has hijacked and is hijacking our consciousness. Not hitchhiking, hijacking. And knowing that, at least, again, having somebody say, I felt the connection, and I've had these cases before, and I couldn't break it off. I could not sever it. It went home with me. Really wild stuff. And I'll tell you about a case after the show when we're in the green or whatever. I'll email you, whatever. That'll really, really tell you what's going on. Anyways, right now, what I could say is, again, Dr. Fitzgerald and Steve Meara said, okay, we're going to work with the CE5 thing and the orbs and all that. They had an individual that was doing exactly what Chris Bledsoe and others are doing now, where, they go out and they're like, okay, manifest your good intentions, the phenomenon will manifest to you and all that. And what we knew in theory was proven in fact through the scientific method. They had an individual and they put on this individual's head a brain wave monitoring unit. And this individual went through the protocols to a T, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting. And sure enough, from a few minutes on, these light phenomenon just manifests above them in the sky. And the individual says, that's them, they're here, I've made the conscious connection. So this is going to freak people out, but this is documented. Steve and Barry are looking at the time, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Within 25 seconds, the phenomenon had induced that observer into theta brainwave activity. That is trance level brainwave activity.
Really?
It had completely disarmed them. Guys, even Mike Batista, the recent whistleblower, came out and said when the phenomenon manifested to him, he would have and should have ran. But it had completely disarmed him.
Oh my God!
So what I'm trying to tell everybody, again, we're not fighting for minutes. We're fighting for seconds.
Oh, no.
Before the phenomenon doesn't just manifest to you, it starts to manifest through you. Yep. And now you are completely...
I ain't going.
It's funny because I remember when I saw the UFO that I saw, I was like confused. I was, you know what I mean? I felt a little confused. Yeah, well, always. I mean, that's always present in my life. But no, I do remember a moment, and I wonder if it's related to this. It's something that it projects, possibly. But like, what just
I don't
happened?
need that in my life.
I know. I really want to go too, but
what if the guy takes me over and he goes, "Oh, you have too many problems. I'm out. Your life's a train wreck. I'm gonna go consciously contact with somebody else."
I really do want to go. But
Well, I might. Nathan, this has been
Yes, sir.
an absolutely amazing episode.
yes, I mean 2 hours just flew by.
You look great,
Dude, thank
buddy.
you.
Look
Thanks,
great.
Bob.
You got light in your eyes for a guy dealing with some crazy shit.
Yeah, truly.
You got a nice glow to you. We appreciate you coming out. One more time, tell them where they can find you.
Oh, go to my Instagram account, Nathaniel Gillis. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Nathaniel Gillis. And you can go to parasymposia.com to sign up for my new paranormal platform. Thank you guys for the invitation. I had a blast, man.
I had a blast.
It's been,
You blew our mind.
awesome, man.
Great
Thank you for having
episode,
me on.
man. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Let's break it down. All right. What'd you guys think of Nathan?
Fire.
Yeah.
That was a fire episode.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's not often where you just blink and it's 2 hours that have passed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still had a million other questions. Like, I mean, I could have asked that guy. I could have talked to him for 4 hours.
I saw Johnny just writing down notes.
Johnny, you love
like
to take notes.
I just don't. You ever get that thing where you have an idea or a question and you don't write it down, you forget it?
Yeah.
And it drives you.
That happened to me during the episode.
It drives you crazy because you're like,
What was the question?
So
It was a stupid question. So I'm not. It's like my haunt. If you knock down the haunted house, it disappears.
I thought that was a good question
Oh.
because you hear about like, I mean, there's that. What's the address of the Manson murders? What's that? Anyway, that home, they've demolished it, but apparently that site is still haunted.
Yeah, I'm sure
badly.
that hotel where that Asian chick died in the water. Well,
Oh yes, the Hotel Cecil. They've changed the name a few times.
yeah, I'm
and
sure
tried
it's
to
still
rebrand.
haunted. We should make XG stay there for a week
It's
and just see how it goes.
Cielo Drive is what it is. Yeah.
The Cecil Hotel?
No,
Yeah.
well, yeah. But the Manson house is the Cielo Drive.
I
house.
might do that for my conspiracy show where I go to different places.
Hotel Cecil.
And
Dude, that's
stay-
dangerous.
Wait. But if you even do that, you're just going to go visit. You're not going to spend the night there, right?
I might spend the night.
I mean, you do
Dude,
spend the night
you-
at a lot of hotels. He really does spend the night at a lot of hotels. It just
I
be
love
another
staying at a
hotel.
hotel, but you're gonna.
I'm
come
gonna
back-
get scared.
Yeah, you don't want to bring something back with you, bro.
Yeah, that's true, dude. That's so true, dude.
I'd rather do the tunnels,
Tunnels.
the LA tunnels, than go into the Cecil Hotel.
Why? So you can see reptilians and human
I
trafficking.
don't even think they'll let you in that.
I think that's where ICE is stationed. You don't
I'm
want
not,
to go.
not going there. Never
Yeah,
mind.
for sure.
See you guys at the Cecil Hotel.
For sure. We'll get back into it real quick. Go to samtripoli.com. Tonight, when this drops, I'm going to be in Tulsa, then Oklahoma. Then I'm going to be at the Fat Man Only show. Tickets available for the Sunday night show. Skankfest in New Orleans. Then I'm going to be in Las Vegas with the boys.
Yeah. Where is it?
There should be plenty tickets available for the Cleveland Browns versus the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
Then Minneapolis, and then New Year's Eve at the Dojo of Comedy in Morris Plains. Guys, this is what we're talking about here. All my videos will go up there. All of my premium content. There's so much. I didn't put out anything last week. I felt bad about, so I banged out a bunch of them for you. I'll probably put out one more if my good friend Kurt Metzger can go tomorrow. I've been putting up by chats to the #1 phone call podcast on planet Earth because we're the only one. Yeah, so check that out. You get 3 a week. As long as they do it. And Johnny, talk about the Cash Days Patreon. Are the bangers banging there?
Oh, it's been.
We only
yeah.
got one.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good week. The market was way up. Gold was just skyrocketing. Bitcoin, everything. It's a good time to come in though because we got a lot of cash sideline in our portfolios now, most of us. And it looks like he just banked on something there. I didn't see what it was, but is that Reddit? What is RDDT? Is that Reddit?
Probably.
Yeah, he's been killing it. Howie Dewey.
Do you guys like money? Well, get in it. That's how we do it. Okay, and then we go to then you go down Chaos Twins Pure Fire. Pure fire. Chaos Twins. And then, T-shirts. Talked about it earlier.
You're wearing one right now. One of the new ones
This is
now, baby.
One of the brand new ones.
Hold on.
Modern day profit.
For easy $20. Come on, guys.
Peanut butter hair Tripoli
Peanut butter hair Tripoli.
immortalized on your chest. Why
Yeah,
wouldn't
there
you
we
want
go.
that?
Modern day profit. There we go. That's such a good one,
Ooh,
dude.
and then hoodies, crew necks are
Ooh,
back.
I like that one. I
So
need one of those.
hard.
Obey. Disobey. That's an iconic shirt, dude.
That is.
And then the Wood Army, dude. Get into it. The Wood Army. I love it. You love it. We all love it. Go back. And then we want to thank our affiliates, of course. We got Wise Wolf Gold and Silver. We got my chemical free body. I took my supplements before the show. That's why I'm full of energy. And then the Mineral King himself, Pat Miltich. I'm doing his podcast tomorrow. He's trying to get rid of those parasites for you. He's trying to get rid of them. Help your soil, help your crops, help your vegetables. He's the guy to go to. Harley Ray is great too. Oh, listen, this guy's been on fire the last couple shows, and I'd like to say it's him learning to read. It's probably not. It's probably Brain Supreme. You need to get
What
in.
if they've replaced XG? What if the entities have replaced?
What if XG is a mimic right now?
Could be a clone.
I'm worried.
They upgraded XG.
One
It's
has-
XG 5.0.
This one's got citizenship.
Yeah, this one's legal. Genius.
The
What
real
do you take
XG
before the show? Genius.
Genius. That's the one.
The
right
real
there.
XG is just
Genius.
trapped in Mexico watching this on YouTube. Like, I'm sorry, real XG.
Real
We're sorry,
XG.
we're sorry, real XG.
Okay, and that's about it. Anything else?
Hit that like button, subscribe, and then I did a new little thing on my YouTube channel where I go do some research on some new topics. So
Some
go over there.
research?
Yeah, some research.
What kind of
Oh, look who's doing
experiments? or something?
research.
like true crime?
Like
So
True
basically,
history?
you put something into Google and Google
ChatGPT
told
read it out. I
Yeah.
had
To
some
be
my
fair, you
co-host.
do the same thing. You're like,
Yeah.
I've been,
Shut up,
I've been
Johnny.
researching this.
Only thing is, my co-host has tits, so head over to Extreme Marks Spot. if you
which
wanna
he
see
doesn't
tits.
show on camera.
That is a mistake. I have to-
Johnny,
You okay there? What you
no,
got?
I'm dying.
You got Zend? You got
I got
Attack of
zinned
the
out.
Zen?
Johnny,
Broken Sam, check it out. We've been having a hell of a time. We've been killing it actually in the numbers lately. It's very good. So,
we love it.
join
We
us.
love it.
We're-
We love
it's
you.
It's a
We love
movement.
it. Yeah, dude,
The
join
broken
it.
Semites.
Broken Semites. All right. No, I thought they're called the pay pigs now.
Yeah, but remember we can't say that on YouTube. Apparently,
So now you
we-
got to beep that.
or the broken.
Wait up, there's a new word now? I have so many words now.
Yeah.
I got like a list on the side of where I edit.
Well, I mean, this late in the show.
They
is probably
got to
right.
come up with some program that does it for you.
It does it. You just
But
gotta
well,
go.
that's my big
you
problem.
see, he
with
just
YouTube.
wants to act like he's working
No,
hard.
you
I gotta
know.
go through each one. He just puts it through a
No,
program.
he has a filter. We know that.
He knows
for
exactly
sure.
what I have to. I mean, it helps me out, but you still have to go and like put the volume down, which I'm not saying it's the hardest thing in the world.
But that's always been my beef with YouTube is how hard would it be to just publish that? This tells you that their motive is not to just clean everything; it's to selectively enforce these things because otherwise they would just publish the words you couldn't say and the topics you couldn't bring up. But
Yes.
instead, it's behind this veil of because they just want to play favorites with the people they want
Yeah.
to push and the others they don't.
They seem like they're the phenomenon. These are like old classic. That was how I weaved back into us talking about the episode, Johnny.
You just said a word related to the episode, but
Yeah,
not what we were talking
phenomenon.
about. Okay,
Phenomenon. We talked about the phenomenon the whole time. That's
but what
we
did
call
that have to do with the YouTube?
Because I said it was the phenomenon doing it.
Okay,
so you brought it back.
got it. I understand now.
Okay. It probably wasn't the best joke if I had to explain it to you. I thought, dude, this is an old school
Yes.
tinfoil hat episode.
Well, I could stand more of that. Maybe have him back, like I don't know. Next
Yeah,
week.
I mean, like, give us your list of guys you like.
Right.
Let's talk about it. Let's break it down.
He recommended a guy. We got to get him on.
He said a couple of people. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's
Yo,
talk to him.
Mark,
So-
get on it.
So there's things.
Mark is digging a hole in his yard right now. He sent us. You just sent us a text. He's like, I was sorry guys, I didn't see the email because I was too busy in this hole. And he just sent a picture of a hole he was digging in the yard. What is he doing?
What are we doing?
What
Why
is he
do
doing?
I have to be the land of misfit toys? Why? Come, if you're retarded, come hang out with me.
Can you imagine Mark digging a hole? It must look like a lawn chair. You know, he's just all angles. It's like,
Can you find a shovel big enough? That's all.
yeah.
Um,
Like Abe Lincoln chopping down a tree.
yeah. He's got back pain. He's bending over so much.
Hey, if we're gonna talk shit, I heard you guys calling my rock out on the last episode.
Rock. No, we missed that. Johnny hit that one time.
I don't know if it's on
we
this
missed
board.
it.
Well, we got the real guy here. I mean,
Yeah.
why not?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we missed that.
People miss it. People miss it. We gotta
do
bring it
miss
back.
it, but these people want us to get right into it. I wish I could. Like on Doomscrolling, we have a 3 minutes where people can come in and people are, oh, dude, the intro's 3 minutes long. It's like, bro, we're
You have
letting
a
everybody.
3-minute intro.
Oh, it's because they're live, so they want people to come in.
Are
and
you
like
there
settle
during
in.
it?
Yeah.
Or it's a video you play, or
Yeah, he just plays a video.
Oh,
we
okay.
allow everybody
Okay.
to come in.
Yeah, you gotta.
yeah, that's why. Because you like a lot of shows, you do promo at the very beginning, and I always wish you would wait because there's nobody there. I think that's a good idea.
All right. I thought it was a great episode. I thought it was an all-time classic.
Yes,
Adding more layers to our reality.
it's you. Do you ever feel though like what the is going on and what do I believe?
I've detached from that.
Yeah, my head is spinning. So like, is he
I've
right?
learned
Or
not
is he
to-
right? Or are they right?
I think they're all right.
Yeah. Well, what do you do when their ideas are in conflict though? They don't agree with each other. Only one can.
Then I go,
that can only be one.
let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it plays out. All right, guys, enjoy the highlights.
All right. Before me and Chili go deep down the rabbit hole, I'm going to give you guys a rundown, a recap of what actually happened in 2017. 2 women were approached by a Japanese YouTube channel to participate in a prank show. What kind of pranks? Well, for hundreds of dollars, all they had to do is run up to strangers, smear their faces with baby oil, some type of face moisturizer, apologize, and run away. These 2 women happily accepted, and for 2 weeks, Don Hong from Vietnam and CT from Indonesia would carry out that same prank. And each time, these mysterious men would tell them exactly what to wear, who to prank, and even where to smear the baby oil. Easy money, right? Easy money. By the time February 2017 came around, City and Don were brought to the Kuala Lumpur airport in Malaysia, and this time their target was one of the travelers at the airport. That is right, one of the travelers at the airport. And as usual, their producers were there, pointed out the targets, poured out the baby oil, told them what to wear, sent them off, and as always, they ran up to the man that they were pranking, smeared their faces with baby oil, apologized, and ran off, except this time it was different. Very, very different. Their target would drop dead 20 minutes later. That is right. 20 minutes later, he is dead from this prank. And who was their target? Well, none other than Jim Kam Nam, the half older brother of the dictator of North Korea, Jim Kam Un. Yes, that is right. These 2 women just unknowingly assassinated a member of the King dynasty. This was no mistake. No, this was carefully planned out, perfectly executed, assassinated. And these 2 women were just the useful idiots in this assassination. Damn. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to go. That is just a recap. I mean, me and Chili are going to go deep down this rabbit hole. So, see you guys in a bit. Hit that like button and subscribe. That's a crazy-ass story, crazy assassination. I mean, not to compare assassinations, but I mean, Charlie Kirk just died. We had the JFK assassination, and these are like sophisticated, but I think this is a whole another level of sophisticated. The way they put thought, time, effort into this, got random bystanders, made these people think it was a YouTube prank show. That is an assassination.
Yeah. I didn't even know this happened until you told me about it. And then when we looked into it, I was kind of like, what the heck?
Well, the reason nobody really knows about it is because it happened in 2017, February, right before Trump won his first term. And that's all that was in the media.
It was a month after his first term.
Yeah, it was that. All the media wanted to know was Russian collusion, Trump won the election, fraud, voter, what is it? Voter election. What's the other one?
I don't know.
Whatever, though. But the point was that it got buried by Donald Trump, this assassination that happened in Malaysia. Yeah, off a YouTube channel. It's just so crazy because, I mean, I know Chili went down the rabbit hole. Did you know who Jim Kam Nam was?
No, I didn't know that. I know who Un is just because of the interview, that movie, The Interview. But I didn't know about his brothers, his sisters who were scary.
The whole, I mean, when you go down these bloodlines, they're all a shit show. It's like the show Succession. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I love that show.
It's like that. They're all crazy. They're all trying to be the winner of whatever, when their dad dies, they're trying to be the dictator, trying to take over. And I mean, Jim Jong-un was the half brother of the current leader, Jim Jong. I just messed that up. Sorry, guys. Repeat. I saw Chili's face. I literally saw Chili's face. She's like, you mispronounced everybody right there. All right. Can we give them the rundown on who's who?
Okay, Kim Jong-il is the father. Kim Jong-un is the main dictator. Nam is the half brother. And then there's another. Yeah, there's another brother, but Chill, but he doesn't. It's Chul.
I love how they're just Chill, Nam, Khan, Ham, Sam.
So we can just go Nam. It's mainly just and Nam.
Yeah, no, but he's the half brother, and he was supposed to. I mean, word on the street, I don't really know. He was supposed to be the actual dictator, right? He was supposed to be number one. Yeah, Nam.
Yeah, Nam, because he's the oldest.
Yeah, and I think they fucked up. Well, I don't know if you call it fucking up or not, but he got sent to a board. Was it?
So all the kids, Il sent all his kids to Switzerland to go to school because they're the only place that had a North Korean embassy. So they had like an agreement, so you can go to school, you could send your kids there, and it's a little bit more westernized instead of being like, I don't know why they did it, to be honest. Like, why wouldn't you just teach your kids in North Korea? But they said that Nam got along with all the South Korean kids.
Well, that's a major no-no.
Kind of messed it up.
Yeah, that's a major no-no. For anybody who doesn't know, go back to a little history channel, back to World War II. So anybody who doesn't know, after World War II, Korea got split up into North Korea, South Korea. America got South Korea. That's why South Korea is booming right now. And Russia and the Soviet Union got North Korea, and it became a dictatorship, a communist party, and that's where we're at right now. Jim Jong-il, which was the old dictator, he just died in 2008, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. And then that's when his son, Jim Jong-un, became the dictator as of now. But this fucker was insane. Mm-hmm. Insane. Like, he would tell people that he didn't take shits. Jim Jong-il walked around telling people, I don't take shits. I started driving at the age of 3. And if you don't cry at my funeral, you're going to jail.
That sounds crazy because you're like, how does he know? But I get it.
I know all this shit. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
because we both went down the rabbit
hole. Or no, but he's like, you better cry at my funeral or else. But like, how would he know? Because he's dead. It's his funeral. Do you know what I mean? It kind of sounds funny.
But you know, they went down with it.
Yeah,
they went through with it.
They did. And then I guess like all his kids had different moms. He had a bunch of mistresses, and Nam's mom was like, what was she, a model or an actress?
Yeah, like old school, like 1980s actress, which is like, I'll put her picture up. She looked beautiful. She was
supposed to be beautiful.
Yeah, she was beautiful.
But she didn't even want Nam to be a dictator.
Yeah, she was. Because I mean,
and he didn't even want to be it.
No, I don't know if he wanted to or didn't want to, but after he got westernized, he didn't want to. He figured.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim. Oh God, it's unbelievable. Here you go.
Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh. Charlie writes, donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this.
Oh, snaps,
leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause.
Damn. Shots
and somebody
fired.
writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread.
Lisa, Isha Curry has to talk to Candace Owens.
Oh, dude, I was just thinking about like what she would.
I
be
would
like
love to watch her light her up.
She would wreck all those people on that show.
Yeah, I would love her on that show and just watch them just
flamethrower, just.
So this guy, I forget what his name is. He's
the hammer guy, right? Yeah,
Dragon or I don't even know what his name is.
You're talking about Josh Hammer, no?
He's the guy that Hammer. Hammer's it, right?
Yeah, Josh Hammer. Yeah.
Hammer. So the day before
I got the tweet here if you want me to pull it up.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because it's a super old tweet from Trump, and that's what people are like, dude, look at the dates. Look at the dates. I'm like, dude, yeah, Trump's tweet's from 2013, but Hammer's tweet is from like 99.
Yeah.
And then he tweets it again, something else. If you go to Sam Tripoli's, you go to my Instagram and you check it out, he tweets on the day. On the day of the assassination.
Yeah, hold on. I just got let me
go to Sam Tripoli.
Okay, there it is right
on Instagram. It's like one of the first ones.
I got the tweet here, the public executions tweet. Okay, so this is his original tweet, as you said, Trump's tweet that he's quote tweeting is from April 19th, 2013. And Donald Trump says, should be public execution for all to see. You will end this bullshit fast. And then he just writes based above it there.
Based. How low could you go?
The day before.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So
the day
let me
before
look at this real quick. So Johnny, I'm going to go to my channel, okay, my page. All right, and show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I had a bad experience there digging through millions of tweets for...
It's only like the second line. Based, okay, and that's that is on 9/9/25, which is the day before, the day of. He writes public execution. I mean, dude. I mean, you're just absolutely tone deaf if you think that's okay. I mean, it's absolutely tone deaf, right?
Yeah. No, I mean,
why don't you know?
And
that's
to be
like
clear, the public execution thing was after he was shot too. So he was.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, why would you tweet that when you're already in you have to be somewhat aware that you're in a text thread, and you're having discussions with a guy that doesn't want to be involved with the bullshit you're pushing. That's my opinion. You know. Yeah. You got to read the room, you dumbass. Okay.
Well, and then here's the part that surprised me. So you have this guy, Ashton Forbes.
Johnny, talk to me.
You know this guy, Ashton Forbes. People have been pressing us to have him on the show. And he's one of his big thing.
Oh, dude, he went after me, dude.
The Malaysian air flight.
Yeah, the guy went after me.
Yeah, and he's, but as skeptical as he is, as conspiracy minded as he is, he's going after Candace about this. This is in response.
How
he says,
are you like?
Because
are you surprised?
To me, I have not given him a lot of credit because I think he's way off the deep end on the other side of it. Like this should be right up his wheelhouse as far as I'm concerned. He says, first off, Candace has no credibility. Second, there's a bunch of Telegram group chat scams that claim to be real people. I was briefly in one with Elon Musk. But here's the thing, Ashton, Turning Point came out and acknowledged these texts are real. They're not.
I mean, you sound like a stupid person, right?
Yeah. And then he says, Johnny, third, this is the dumb part, though. Listen to this. He says, third, if you discount the text between Tyler Robinson and his furry lover, you cannot take these at face value. They're real, bro. I mean,
I can totally take them at face value, dude. I can totally take that at face value. What are you talking about?
If you'd like to hear the rest of this episode, subscribe to Broken Simulation in your podcasting app or check us out at youtube.com/Sam Tripoli.
Go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hack.